Hi folks, Chrissy here and Auntie Karen's here.
Hello.
In the Cafe Soul Pod HQ. This one, we put a video on, all the chats me and Auntie Karen have is all about things that we've already posted on our TikTok feed and on the YouTube. And obviously about things that are getting our goat or boiled our water this week. Things of excitement, like Auntie Karen's 60th birthday has been this week. That's very exciting. But today's topic is job interviews. The UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham has urged employers to stop using virtual job interviews on platforms like Zoom and Teams, arguing that they disadvantage young candidates. Speaking on the Jimmy's Jobs of the Future podcast, Burnham criticised post-pandemic recruitment practices and expressed concern that they fail to capture a candidate's true personality and passion. What do we think? I think it's job specific. There is a place for virtual. It stresses you out, doesn't it, in-person interviews?
But when you think as well, years ago, sometimes, sorry, because I've just been Googling here, sometimes your initial one was a phone call.
Yeah.
You just get a phone call. And you can't really tell a lot about a person just by the voice over the phone.
Yeah, they would, maybe if you apply for a job, they might give you a call.
Yeah.
They might have asked you a couple of questions and then invited you for an interview. Or they might have asked you for a couple of questions, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And the next one could be invited in for a thing. And all interviews go through a process, don't they?
Of course. Like stages of interview, isn't it?
Stages, that's a good word, Colin. Yeah. So that's different than going...
It is.
I'm just a single person going for it.
When you're in like team interviews, it's like people, they're still watching you, they're still seeing how you interact with other people, because in them type of jobs, it's
what
really
you need.
Important because you're going to be, but you have to be part of a team. You've got to be a team player.
Yeah. And I think that's what's good about when you're doing the things in the group things.
Yeah.
Like the Evening Chronicle, one of those was a group discussion, and it was about we were separated into two groups. One group was for bringing the death penalty back, and one was not bringing the death penalty back.
Yeah.
And we had to argue our case, but they were shown how we were arguing the case, how we were putting things forward, and who was speaking up. So there was a lot of that going on in there.
Yeah.
British Airways, for example, that was more technical stuff. So that was airport codes, it was country things, it was this scenario, what would you do? That scenario, what would you do? I like scenarios. This has happened, what would you do? Because I can say from the beginning, well, this is what I would want, and this is what I...
But I would say that in my field of being in the care profession.
Yeah. But when you're in a one-to-one interview, if some of those things that you've done in that group setting, where you might be in that class situation for like an hour, 2 hours, maybe, right? You've got the time to go through all those things. You're studying it as you're doing it. But in a one-on-one, when you asked a question similar to that, this is a scenario, what would you do? You're on you're literally
on the spot.
You're feeling like you've got to speak straight away.
Yeah.
And you might know, but because you're put on the spot, your head goes blank.
Yeah. And I think when we were chatting about this earlier on, it's like, I said it before, a woman who was a high position to me, she said one of her things was, if she was interviewing somebody, if you come back at her with kind of textbook answers straight away, you wouldn't make it any further than that interview. But if, I'm not saying struggled, but if you see you really think about the answer and you know, kind of second guessing yourself, I guess, in a way, and kind of go, oh, I'm not really sure, but I think this is maybe what I would do. I don't know if that's 100% right or not. You don't have to be 100% right all the time.
Yeah.
As long as
it's
you're
just
trying.
That's somebody being authentic, isn't it?
And as long as you're willing to work towards knowing what you would do in that situation. Yeah. That was a person that would likely more to get the job than the text.
So I think at my age and at your age, we've gone through a lot of different ways of being interviewed. I'm 62 this year. Karen, like I say, has just turned 60 last week, my baby sister. We've had a lot of different types of interviews. And I can remember going back to school, we used to have career class. careers. And you would have role play interviews in your careers class. So that was obviously a help, because most of the time back in the day we'd be walking around places like Newcastle, Gateshead, where we lived, and walking into shops with our CVs, walking into shops asking you got any jobs. I don't know whether that happens anymore now.
Do you know what it is? Funny enough, the last time I went
So
out,
it would be in person.
it was less than 10 years ago when I went into Gateshead and I gave out my CV. I went into shops physically, spoke to the staff.
I did all that.
And that's how I got the job at Dixon's.
But yeah, that's what we used to do.
Physically, my CV in.
Yeah. But in today's society, like Prime Minister thinks all this has come since COVID, when a lot of jobs came up at home and people started doing interviews online because we couldn't see each other. But there's definitely a place for it. It's the culture we live in now, and there's a place for it, especially with particular jobs. It's jobs situational. And here's what some of our community have said. These are responses on the TikTok. Coral said, I think personally if the job is online, then online interviews, if it's an actual workplace, then should be done in the workplace. Both have got, it's job dependent. One of the things she's also mentioned is doing things online. Sometimes there can be Wi-Fi or computer glitches, which can be a nightmare during an interview. Brenda, our friend in Canada, said, I would say it depends on the job. I remember I travelled to an interview, got hired, and my employer wanted me to physically come back before the job started to take a tour of the new space and the community. She was testing my commitment on how much I wanted the job.
Well, that's it. And I mean, I've missed to Google, and it basically says here, a FaceTime, a virtual one, interview offers unmatched convenience, zero commute time, and flexible scheduling, which we'd said before, ideal for initial screenings, which is great. In contrast, a face-to-face allows for a richer personal connection, clearer non-verbal communications, and an authentic feel for the workplace culture, making it superior for final rounds. And I think we've said that before.
Yeah.
Like initially,
but
I think you can still, because they're saying about connection and body language.
How can't they pick that up on video call?
Well, face-to-face building rapport and reading full body language natural, where FaceTime limits view to the upper body and screen presence. But I still think you can see.
If you're sitting in an office interview, you're sitting
behind the desk.
You're sitting behind a desk that cannot see your feet anyway.
No.
And you are nervous. You are more nervous. So we talked about this before I come online, and I'm thinking, in my opinion, the best case scenario was there's rounds to interviews usually. You apply for the job.
Send your CV in. With the application.
Yeah. If you're successful, you might have to go through another round. Like maybe that's like coming in as a group situation thing.
Yeah.
There's normally rounds to your interviews. It's like a process of elimination. You might have 50 people, and that's not exaggerating. You might have 50 plus people putting in for the same job. They've got to go through them CVs. Keep it to the point, folks. Keep it to the point. Don't waffle.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be more than 2 pages, your CV, at all. Keep it to one if you can.
It's bullet pointing.
Yeah. Once they've gone through the CVs, pick the best of the bunch out of there. That could still whittle down to 30 or something.
Yeah.
But then you could have group thing, set up the specific type of interviews you would do in group situations to see how people interact, how vocal people are, how forthcoming people are, what their energy. You could see things then, and it also gets a chance for them to visit the place that they could possibly be working in.
What I want to say as well, they're saying on here, environmental control. Face-to-face relies on a managed office setting right, while FaceTime obviously requires you to have a quiet space, stable internet, and good lighting. But how, I don't, again, it's job specific, because I've been to offices for interviews. I've never done an online one. And if something happens outside that office that they need that person to come and see to, the interview is interrupted.
Yeah. I've had every interview I had in an office has been interrupted.
Yeah, so it's not a managed office setting.
No.
Even though you're saying to your receptionist or...
It's a working office setting.
Yeah. So at any time through that interview, the person interviewing you can be called away if it's
The phone
something
can go.
important.
Yeah.
Yes. So...
And
yeah, it can happen on a face-to-face. So I don't think this should be kind of like... It can happen on FaceTime as well, sorry. So I don't think they should take that environmental control literally, because things happen.
exactly, they really do. I mean, it says here that he urges, hopefully he's not going to bring in some flipping legislation,
No.
because it should be business and job specific, shouldn't it? And I've mentioned before, people with disabilities, people with illnesses who would like to work from home. So home-based jobs,
Yeah.
some of them home-based, you've got to go into the place for training
Yeah.
before you start on the home base. But the reason you're looking for a home-based job is because you can't get out the house.
Yeah.
So that really needs to be thought of by employers, because I'm telling you, 16 years suffering with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome and menopause, all on the top, it would have been nice to have been able to still work from home without losing my job.
But what they're also saying is first impressions. Face-to-face starts with handshakes and physical presence. Yeah. FaceTime relies on direct camera, eye contact and clear audio. Now, I'm sorry, even in a face-to-face, you want to have good eye contact. You want to have, don't want to be mumbling
you don't
like
want to be
that.
mumbling.
You've still got to be verbally clear. And not all people will shake your hand. Not these days when you go in for an interview.
Not these days, not
Very
after COVID.
rarely. Physical presence, yeah, fine. But mostly they're looking at 9 out of 10 how you dressed. You can see that over FaceTime. So it's like, to me, it's like a 50-50. It's like all depends on what job you're going for.
Yeah. The
And like I
culture
say,
of the
it's-
workplace,
yeah.
what you're going to be doing,
You should
and the
take that
convenience of
face
it.
value.
Karen looked up before. It's like when you're going into somewhere, the person who's doing the interviewing, they've got to make that time. That's taking them away from work, actual work, and that takes up more of the day than a video call would. And video calls could whittle things down to the final, say, 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 candidates. Bring them all in on the same day. Your day is going to be over interviewing, within 3 hours, because you've only got 3 people.
But it's also,
But it shouldn't be
I've turned, like a 15-20 minute interview, and you get on well with the people and have a bit of a rapport, and before you know it, you've been there over an hour chatting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taking an hour from their day as well. But again, like I said before, FaceTime, and it saves your travel time and expenses. And if you're going face to face, it's your travel time, your expenses, your commuting, your coordination of how am I going to get there? How many buses do I need to get there because you don't drive?
And companies as well, they've got an unknown person coming onto their territory. Like, for example, Evening Chronicle and British Airways, you've got to have a visitor's pass, you've got to have identification on you at all times. All that's got to be prepared.
Health and safety's got to be looked into
Yeah,
for somebody coming in for it. Like
yeah,
visitors.
the building, they're not insured unless you've got your name down in this thingy and you've got your visitor's badge on and you've gone through all that stuff. So there's a lot more to it in person interviews. Anyway, which type of job interview would you prefer? And do you think all virtual interviews should be scrapped? I say no. I say
no.
It should be down to the employer.
Again, based on what kind of job you're going for.
Yeah.
I say
A video call is nearly just as good as being in person with someone. You can pick up their character and stuff. You can pick up, and you're seeing that person in their own environment. You know, you can notice, is the environment clean? Is it tidy? How have they shown up to this home video call? Have they made an effort even though they're not coming in person? All those things can be taken up.
I think the person being interviewed will feel more comfortable in their own environment.
Well, that's what I was saying to you. You feel more comfortable because you're not in that office at the other side of a desk or at the other, the chair, feeling like that thing. You feel the safety of your own comfort zone. So,
and they're seeing you as you, not as like you put on something else.
Yeah. So what do you think? Let us know. cafesoulpod@gmail.com. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.